Hi, WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany. And today I have Potter, 11-year-old Indian corn whiskey, authentic collection from the WM Cadenhead, 55.1% corn whiskey. Interesting. Who is Potter? All right, Potter's Distilleries was founded 1958 by Ernie Potter in Lanley, Canada. I have no idea where that is. He moved the entire operation to Kelowna, Canada. Also, I have no idea where that is, in 1990. This was distilled in 1989. But wait. 1995, he renamed the Potter Distillery into Cascadia because he wasn't ever really a distillery. Actually, it was just a merchant that bought barrels and other products, wine as well as spirits, stored them, bottled them, labeled them, and then sold them all around the area. So, this was not distilled by Potter. This was sourced. Where, we don't know. Now, the story gets even a little bit interesting. When you Google Potter Indian corn whiskey, the first thing that pops up on Google with my browser was the 24-year-old. This was also bottled 1989, but 24 years later, 2013, they actually bottled it, and there were 126 bottles in total. This was the 11-year-old version, which was bottled September 2000. 1989, September 2000, 11 years old. 372 bottles. So what I'm guessing is there were a total of 3 casks. 2 casks here, and 1 cask in the 24-year-old. Now, the story gets even more interesting. Cadenhead found those barrels in a warehouse. And all they said were Canadian Indian corn whiskey, 1989, Potter. That's it. How in all the world can you find 3 casks in your warehouse that no one knew about? Well, as we said, the renaming of the company since 1995, it's merged with I don't know how many. There are new corporations that happened because of this and so on, and they just lost track. Today we have RFID chips. Today we have scanning when it comes into the warehouse. We have scanning when it gets out of the warehouse. Everything is computerized and digitalized, but in 1989, we were a long way away from that. That's when I came to Germany, by the way. All right, so let's taste this. Now, I must admit, I'm not a big fan of corn whiskeys. I think there's a Hudson baby corn, there's a Balcones blue corn that I've tasted in German, in my German videos. It's like 400 German videos already, but just a few dozen so far, not even a dozen, maybe a dozen already in English. There's a mellow corn from Heaven Hill. All of these products are not my friend. On the nose, neither. Also my palate, not the stuff I like. Yet, I bought this nice little sample here from Drinks by the Dram from Masters of Malt in England. What I've done a few times, I think it's not 3 times, I just order like 200 euros worth of stuff, samples as well as bottles, and I get free shipping to Germany. And so that's worth it. But I have a lot of different samples, or I've done a lot of different samples over the last year or so from Masters of Malt, and I've had access to things that are just not possible otherwise here in Germany. My nose. A lot of alcohol with a tiny little bit of the sweetness of bourbon, with a tiny little bit of the spiciness of rye, and a tiny little bit of wood. So let's just put this in percentages. 5, 5, 5, 85 alcohol. Do you get the picture? It's not a pleasant smell. I might actually give the wood 10%. But alcohol. It doesn't really seem to be 11 years old. Now, the problem we have with Canadian whiskey is that, of course, they can use whatever they want to as barrels. They don't have to be new white oak barrels. They can be reused barrels. They can be any type of wood they want barrels. Of course, it's probably going to be some type of oak, but that's also the thing. They can throw in whatever they want to and still call it corn whiskey. It can be 100% corn. It can be 80%. It can be 49% corn. They could still call it officially corn whiskey if they wanted to. The naming is not actually the most important thing in Canada, with all their, I would say, loose regulations compared to European, as well as even bourbon's not the great sometimes if it's not called straight bourbon. So, let's taste it. 55.1%. I think I'm going to put a little water in it in a moment. 1 second. We have a commercial in Germany called Fisherman Friends. These are little cough drops, and it says, if it's too strong, you're too weak. This is the case. This stuff is so hot. Oh, wow. A Stag Junior is better than this. A bottle of Wow Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is better than this. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, the legs are okay, fairly thin to be honest. This doesn't look very oily. And now, we want 42% around my mouth. It's so simple. There's heat. There's a tiny little bit of sugar. There's very, very little spice. There's very, very, very little bit of wood. It's almost as if you put 2 little cubes of sugar in some vodka. That's about it. There's hardly any color to this. I think you can recognize this as well. So let's just take this here. I think you can maybe see this. This is Old Forester, by the way, all right? So this is just a typical bourbon we know from the States. And compared to this, I hope to be able to show this. Now you can see the difference. No. All right, in Canada, they can put as much coloring as they want into that, but Cadenhead didn't. That's what I'm assuming. So this is a natural color. I'm assuming. Yeah, I usually give a grade, and I'm going to give it a D. The price, there's only 327 bottles for the whole world. So if you get your hands on one of these, I'm going to say don't. Don't open it. Commemorate this wonderful task. Can commemorate the feeling of Indian corn Canadian whiskey. And then sell it for a profit, I hope. But don't open it. It's not worth it. Now, I haven't tried the 24-year-old. There's only 126 bottles of that worldwide. So maybe those 13 extra years in the cask did it some good. But I don't think so. No. No. I've had some very great grains in my life. I have a 50-year-old grain here. Cooper's Choice, blended grain Scotch whiskey, bourbon cask matured. I can't tell you. This stuff is so good. I have some other grains. I've had some 33-year-old, old particulars, 27-year-olds, and so on. I like grain whiskey. I don't like corn whiskey. So, that's my opinion. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American. What's your opinion? Have you had anything from Potter? Do you know where they actually source it from? Do you have any information about if the distillery really closed or not in the 1990s? And anything else you'd like to mention about the Potter whiskey? Or corn whiskey? Or anything else for that matter? I like to have the banter, the communication. That's a good thing to have. Thank you very much for watching. WhiskyJason here. See you soon. Bye-bye.